everybody, it's Kelly Acheson coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin, and today I have a window slider card to share with you. I love fun folds, and this one is super cool. Now, as I usually say, it looks way more complicated than it is, and it really does. But it's not that hard, and I challenge you to make some of your own. Send me pictures. I love to see what everybody's making with these ideas. So today we're going to be using One Wild Ride again. I just used it in a video last week. So if you hop on over to my blog, astampabove.com, you will find that on July 7th. And I have chosen that stamp set to make another card. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you a completely different card using the window slider idea. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make one. First of all, I'm going to start with Tangerine Tango, and I chose black, silver, and orange because those are the colors of Harley Davidson, and anybody who knows bikes knows that the motorcycle in One Wild Ride stamp set is fashioned after a Harley Davidson. So what I've got here is a piece of Tangerine Tango that's 5.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches long, and also another piece that is 3 7/8 by 4 3/4. We're going to bring in our paper trimmer, and we're going to score 1/2 inch from one edge, and I like to score this way when we're working with smaller numbers. It's nice that our paper cutter goes all the way out to this edge. Remember to grab your scoring blade, which is the lighter gray. I'm going to score it 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to turn it around and score at 4.5 inches. Now we're almost done with this piece. We need to cut 2 slots in this card front, and the way we're going to do that is we are going to pull out our extension, and we're going to push our cardstock up to 4 3/4, and we're going to cut a slit. We're going to cut that slit from 3/4 of an inch down to 4 3/4. So we're going to start at 3/4 and go down to 4 3/4. And this time we're using our cutting blade. Push that in and cut all the way down to 4 3/4. Pick it up, and now we're going to move our cardstock over to 7 1/4. So we've got 7 1/4 over here, and we're going to do the same thing again. Start at 3/4 of an inch, and you may want to get your head right over the top so that you're actually at 3/4 of an inch, and bring it all the way down to 4 3/4. And there we go. So our card base and our sliding mechanism is ready to roll. The next piece of cardstock I told you was 3 7/8 by 4 3/4. We are going to put that into our paper cutter, and we are going to cut it at 2 inches, but we're not going to cut it all the way. We're going to cut it down to just a little bit more than 3 1/4. And it's going to look like this. And now it's time to stamp. I'm going to take our smaller layer, and our 2 inches is down here, so I'm going to stamp in this area up here. I'm using the motorcycle, that nice Harley, and I'm going to ink that up with Memento black ink. And we're going to stamp that right there. We're done with this piece for now. I'm going to bring in our card base, and we are going to stamp this up. First of all, what I'm going to do is stamp my words. It says, "Birthday wishes to the leader of the pack." And I'm going to put that right down here. And then I'm going to bring in the Route 66, and I'm going to stamp that once. Okay, so that's about 1/2 inch from where our cuts end here. And you can do a dry fit on your card and put it all together without taping anything to see where it's going to be aligned correctly. But I've already done that. So I've just got a little piece of scrap paper here, and this is going to cover up the stamping that I just did. So I'm going to put that right in between my slits, and I'm going to fold my card in half, and we're going to burnish it with our bone folder. And now we're going to stamp the really fun splatter images. And we're just going to kind of do that all over the place here. So I'll be back in just a second when I have that done. And now I'm going to come back in with our Route 66, and I'm just going to randomly stamp that all over the front. Whoops, I missed that one. Dang it. Well, we've got a boo-boo there, but we're going to keep moving forward. Make sure you're not trying to go as fast as I am. That was really not the brightest idea I've ever had. We're going to pull that out, and you see how that's left our greeting area blank. Now I'm going to bring in the badge from the stamp set and stamp that on a scrap. And I'm going to bring in the best badge punch here and punch it out. We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of our badge. And I'm just using edges here because why not use those up, right? I like to utilize everything. And I'm going to put one right in the middle. I know this is kind of overkill on this badge, but we are going to take some of our silver thread. Because I didn't want to put any diamonds on this card, look how inky my fingers are, I am just going to use this as my bling. I wrap that around about 7 times. And I'm going to hold on to it and take it off my hand. And I should have removed these backings. We're going to do it now. And this is going to help my string stay in place. So I've got my string all wound up, and I am just going to twist it. Just like that, okay? And I'm going to put that right on my middle dimensional. And you want to make sure it's sticking out both sides, and then once you have it pinned down, you can rough it up a little bit so it doesn't look so uniform. Here's our 2 layers. I've got our silver foil sheets, and I cut this at 2 3/8 by 2 3/8, and then a square of basic black that I cut at 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. So I'm just going to stick these 2 together with some snail adhesive, and then I'm going to put this right on my layer. See, now you can kind of scrunch these around so they look like they're kind of random. Isn't that a cool look? I really like that. We need to punch an opening here so that our card can be pulled out. I've got a 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm going to do about 1/4 to 1/3 of that punch. And I'm just centering it in between my slits here. You're punching through both layers. All right, now we are going to take our piece, and our little blank piece here, we're going to put this underneath and only slide that one through the 2 slits on the front. Okay, so you can see where that's plain. Here's the back. And now we've got this that we cut. We need to tape that together to secure it. So I'm just going to grab a small piece of Scotch tape and put that right over that. So now our mechanism will move back and forth. Isn't that easy? Now make sure you replay that video if you didn't catch that. Now I noticed that when I fold this closed, I can see a little bit of my back of my card sticking out. This would be the time to trim just a sliver off of here if you need to. And I'm going to do that. I'm just kind of anal about stuff like that. So now when we put our card together, I can't see the back coming to the front anymore. And we are going to put some fast fuse on there. And you want to use something extra strong. Fast fuse works really good. If you have sticky strip, that works fine too. We're going to fold this tab in, and we're going to close up our super cool card. We can put our badge on the front, and I'm again just going to use fast fuse because I don't want this falling apart. It's a moving card, so it gets a little more stress. And I'm going to line this up just a little bit over the bottom of this panel. So it's just sticking a little bit over that, and you're going to make sure that it's centered in between your slits. Okay, how cool is that? And last but not least, we need to punch a hole to put our pull through. And I'm going to use some baker's twine. Have you seen these? These are for flossing your teeth. I got these when I had braces like many, many years ago. And I still have them because I use them for stamping now. Not that I didn't use them for the braces, don't get me wrong. I am going to take my baker's twine. And I have these cards marked at 6 inches, 7 inches. I use that when I cut ribbon. So I'm using 6 inches of baker twine, and I'm going to do it 4 times. So I'm wrapping it around there 4 times. And then I'd also like to throw some of my silver thread in there. And again, it's hard to bling up a masculine card because, you know, you don't want to put diamonds or pearls on it. But this is one way to make your cards a little more spectacular. So I'm just going to hold this silver in here and maybe hold the silver in here, and I'm going to wrap that around as many times as you'd like. It doesn't, whatever you're comfortable with. So I wrap that around 5 or 6 times. And now I'm going to cut this off. And then you also make pom-poms like this. I'm going to slide this, my scissors in here and cut all of it. And now we have all of these cut to the same length here. Here's where my flosser comes in. Because I chose to use a really small hole, you're going to fold all your twines over, and I needed this to pull them through that tiny little hole. Okay, so you're going to just bend it over like that. And you want to be really careful here so you don't rip your hole out. Could actually put a reinforcement around it by punching another piece of cardstock. Oops, I did it. Now, you only want your folded over edge to come through. And that worked out really good. Don't pull it too far. And now we need to find the middle of this so we can loop it back through. There we go. And you can just pull all of these. Don't pull too hard because you'll rip it right off of there. I'll pull a couple of those out because they didn't get through quite like they should have. And now I'm going to trim this off. We've got just a little bit of bling in there with the silver. And there is our card. Now you can write up here if you want. You can write on the back here. You can write on the whole back of the card. But isn't that fun? Here's a matching envelope that I made to go with my slider card. And as promised, I made another one, and this one goes sideways. Isn't this pretty? I will share details of this with you later in the week. This uses the Blooms and Bliss stamp set and a matching envelope. So how pretty is that? Okay, more on that card later. Again, please feel free to share pictures with me. I love to see what you're making. If you don't have a new catalog, I'd be happy to send you one. You can pop me an email at kelly@astampabove.com. Also, hop on over to my blog. I have another card that I featured last Friday with the stamp set, and my blog is astampabove.com. Thanks so much for joining me. Add a little sparkle to someone's day. Send them a card.